Spectrum's Evan Koslof joins me now from Washington. Evan, thanks for being here. Now, what do we know about the shooting that took place this morning for those who are just now hearing the details?
Yeah, I mean, a powerful news press conference we just saw there as we got some new details. We did learn that there were two children that did die in this shooting, aged 8 and 10 years old. And then on top of that, there were 17 injuries that included 14 children and 3 adults. I believe he said that they were all in their 80s just now, is what we heard from the city police chief. You did mention that, you know, the glimmer of good news here, which is that all of those injured children are now with their parents and that they are expected to survive, but nonetheless an incredibly traumatic situation. And you heard, I think the most powerful sound that we just heard there was from the principal. I wrote down a few notes here, calling this a nightmare, of course, saying that we lost, quote, 2 angels today. I was also struck by the level of that they were calling for actions, not just words, thoughts, and prayers. What he said, the principal, was we can't change the past, but we can do something about the future. And that is something that we heard from the politicians that were speaking at this event today, both the governor, Tim Walz, as well as the mayor. To read you just a few of the quotes, because it was earlier in that news conference, you know, the governor said that there shouldn't be just words for this because it shouldn't happen, saying, keep us in your thoughts for action. That was the governor, Tim Walz, who, of course, has been in the national spotlight as the candidate for vice president. You know, the mayor also saying that we have to do more than talk. We've got, he said, quote, we've got more guns in this country than people. Also saying, don't think of these as someone else's kids. Think of these as your own. Now, I am here in Washington. Let's run through some of the reactions that we've been seeing on the national level, starting with, of course, the president. This is what Donald Trump had to say on social media, writing that I have been fully briefed on the tragic shooting in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The FBI quickly responded and they are on scene. The White House will continue to monitor this terrible situation. Please join me in praying for everyone involved. One other that reference that we want to show you here is from Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. That's the top Democrat in the House. Let's see if we could pull that up on our screen here. Saying that the shooting at Annunciation Catholic Church in Minneapolis is horrifying, praying for the children, families, and first responders during this moment of terror and unimaginable grief, and then saying weapons of war have no place in our neighborhoods, streets, or schools. So, of course, everybody just pouring in condolences about this horrible, horrible shooting, but we are also hearing from Democrats and also advocacy groups that call for regulations of guns that want action in Congress.
Right, just horrible to think, you know, how this unfolded as these kids gather to celebrate the start of their fresh school year, where there's so many kids across America going back to school right now, and for this to happen week 1, just a few days into the school year, it breaks your heart to think of them sitting there in those church pews, and then all of a sudden shots ring out from outside, coming through the window of the church. Now, Evan, we did hear from authorities there that there could possibly be a manifesto that they're looking into, which could lead them to a motive.
Right. It's really important that we take a breath in these moments and wait until we get all the details. But we did get some information about who the shooter is. You read the name there. I don't think we need to dwell on the name multiple times. But this was a 23-year-old that was identified as the shooter. And what the police chief said is that there was a YouTube manifesto that was timed for the shooting. So, you know, that might give us some information about what exactly happened here. And police are going to be digging into that, I'm sure, to try and get more information. Also, that this shooter had a rifle, a shotgun, and a pistol. It's just terrible to think about that when we're talking about children that were in there for mass. Terrible.
Right. This investigation in its early hours. All right. Evan Koslof, thank you so much. We want to thank you for joining us. More news right now here on Spectrum News.